B7 Productions presents Blake 7, A Rebellion Reborn.
In the 23rd century, the Galactic Federation was no longer a beacon of democracy and peace. It had become a corrupt tyranny ruled by elite factions who care nothing for the fate of ordinary people. Freedom and justice are things of the past. One man chose to oppose this. This is his story.
The Federation no longer represents the people of Earth or the colonies. Its institutions are corrupt.
Okay, let's go for a take.
I would ask the court for time to overthrow the current government. Say 4 years?
You've got 2 weeks, Blake.
Here we go then.
Confirm identity.
I'm Avon. That's all that matters.
Commence induction.
Look out! It's opening the whole bridge!
Don't move! Don't move!
I'm falling! Changing!
I want it and its crew hunted down and torn off the bloody surface of space.
30 years after the original TV show ended, Blake 7 returns as a new series of audio adventures. I'm Alastair Locke, and in this programme I'll go behind the scenes to follow the cast and crew at work on this reinterpretation of a much-loved classic.
And who are you?
My name is Rog Blake.
Rog Blake, the people's champion.
A new crew has been assembled from available resources. Rog Blake.
Death or freedom, you decide.
Kerr, Avon.
It's your battle, not mine, Blake.
Jenna, Stannis.
They want a war? I think it's time we gave it to them.
Villa, Restal.
We're all in for the duration, aren't we?
Oleg, Gan.
With this ship, we can hit the Federation where it hurts. Someone has to make a stand.
Laura, Mezin.
No way!
The new crew will take their places for induction.
What happens after induction?
The crew will save the ship.
Okay, that's the crew of the Liberator, but what do the cast and crew of the new show remember about the original series? Colin Salmon, who plays Avon.
Blake 7 was an incredible sci-fi series back in my youth, actually.
Ben Aronovich, lead writer.
The original Blake 7, that was Tuesday night, cracking television, best SF drama of its time.
Derek Riddell, Blake.
Successful BBC television sci-fi programme.
Andrew Mark Sewell, producer.
It was like The Dirty Dozen in space meets Robin Hood.
I remember it in the same sort of time frame as the John Pertwee, Doctor Who into Tom Baker kind of thing. And I remember, you know, dodgy sets and some interesting costumes.
There were some beautiful women in it. I remember that. That was really important.
The first thing I usually think of when I think of Blake 7 is the theme and the spaceship, but going away from me with that thing, the green light blinking as it heads away from us.
Blake 7 was a show about a bunch of criminals fighting the evil Federation.
They were a disparate band who were thrown together on a fabulous ship which they came to call the Liberator.
And they're fighting against the evil diva, Supreme Commander Servalan and her various henchmen, of which the key one is Travis.
You're surrounded, Blake. I've waited much too long for this.
And so have I.
Servalan.
Louis Savvy, Festival Director, Sci-Fi London.
Blake 7 is has been the sort of, other than Star Wars, I think has been a major influence in television science fiction.
Blake 7 has a seminal place, which is an overused word, but it's appropriate in this case, in that it's basically influenced every other space opera that came after it.
You know, things like Firefly and Farscape, you know, sort of a band of anti-heroes, or, you know, characters that don't really like each other thrown together on a strange-looking ship and out into space on adventures. It's, you know, it's fabulous science fiction.
Tell me about the Liberator, Blake. Is it as powerful as they say?
How should I know? I don't listen to gossip.
How many of you are there?
Enough.
Do you really think one ship, however powerful, will tip the balance?
Yes. And so do you, or you wouldn't be here.
Andrew Cartmel, script editor, classic Doctor Who.
So where does Blake 7 stand in the pantheon of British science fiction? I think it's second only to Doctor Who, although there were progenitors like Quatermass. They were very different in tone and also in format.
Yeah, it was about rebellion. We were Blake 7. We were doing that. I mean, I was involved in punk music and different things that were happening. It was literally get out there and do it, really.
Blake was definitely, I mean, people died in it. It was, I remember at the time my younger brother was a big fan of it. He kept saying, oh, you know, they'll kill the people.
Commence induction.
You need us, but we only agree on Blake's terms. We keep our own thoughts. Oh, you're no better than the Federation.
Listen! Liberator, that was unnecessary.
She's dead.
Before that, you had the Star Trek model, you had the kind of Lost in Space model, and that was it. And then along came Blake 7, and now you could have a completely dysfunctional family in space. And so Blake 7 gives us a bunch of people who don't like each other in space, rather than, you know, let's all go out and conquer the universe together.
I don't care, Blake. We don't want Mezzin on the ship. None of us does.
The ship has a name, Villa. It's called Liberator.
Oh, very inclusive. And did you invite it to this meeting too?
You mean it's not listening already? Do you want Mezzin here? You get out of prison, do you take the guard with you?
Maybe we should put you off instead, Villa.
Gan?
I agree with Villa. We have a fresh start on the Liberator, but Mezzin shouldn't be part of it.
She's always watching. Given half a chance, she'll shop us all.
Jenna, what about you?
I agree with Gan, not with Villa.
We all have our principles.
Well, Blake 7 now is taking the essence, the spirit of what Terry Nation actually created and retooling it for the audience sensibilities of the 21st century.
In a way, it's more modern than ever. I think now is a great time for it to come back.
This ship has the power to alter the face of the galaxy. Liberator's technology is light years beyond what Earth has, and we can use it.
How?
There are dispossessed and disenchanted people all across Federation space. The security forces keep them isolated. They stop them from connecting. They stamp out common cause. But if those people could be rallied, if they had a unifying force...
He's tub thumping again.
So you want the Liberator to be a symbol? You're such an idealist, Blake.
What's that?
Idealist doesn't automatically equate to fool. We can turn this vessel into a flagship against the Federation and despotic leaders like Servalan.
When it was first offered to me, I thought, oh, I better, try and find out a bit more. And so I went onto the internet and put in Blake 7 and then could not believe the number of sites that came up.
When I first heard that Blake 7 was going to be reimagined, I think is the phrase, I just kind of sighed and went, oh no, not again, because most things that get remade end up being pretty terrible. But I think Battlestar Galactica changed my perception to that always happening.
Mark Platt, writer.
My first thought on getting this gig, actually, was can they really bring it back?
James Swallow, writer.
What attracted me to working on the Blake 7 project was a kind of sci-fi I had never seen on television before.
Then you sort of sat and thought about it and thought, well, it was of its time and times have moved on and I think there's a lot to add.
So when the opportunity came to come on board a new version of Blake 7, I seized it with both hands because I had such fond memories of it, and the idea of being able to be part of that, to be part of bringing it back to life was just too good an opportunity to pass up.
Good evening, Engineer Blake. My name is Servalan. No doubt you know who I am.
Commander of the 1st Directorate, you control Earth's security forces, and your family is one of the richest in the Federation, which explains your rather rapid promotion.
You're well informed.
When one is getting crucified, it's always useful to know who's banging in the nails.
I'm so sorry about the nature of the charges, Blake, but we really do need to completely discredit you this time.
The main character, the eponymous Rog Blake, is the political wronged activist who's framed for a crime that he didn't commit by the Federation. He's forced into opposing it because he's tried the political means, which hasn't worked.
And he's very single-minded, and that he does have to have a ruthlessness about him, that he will do what is required to achieve his goals.
Blake is your worst nightmare. He's a pragmatic idealist. If he believes that you should die, you will die before you even hear about it.
This shoots a stream of very hot glue at very high pressure. It's not glamorous, but it will kill you. Do you understand?
Yeah.
He's a very charismatic character, and by virtue of that charisma, he inspires confidence, and their people will follow him.
And you think he's the better man to follow?
For now.
We can still drop you off somewhere. Your choice.
I'll stay, for now.
The flip side of Blake is Kerr Avon.
Avon is a lone wolf. Some may say tiger.
You're an objective eye.
You mean I'm a clinical, cold-hearted bastard who understands the nature of evil better than you?
Avon is a man who thinks that he is ruled by logic, but is in fact governed by passions that he barely understands himself.
You're a smarter man than I am, Avon. But for all your intellect, you didn't win today because you don't understand people.